Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Ben sent me a note about a story that's kind of unusual. All our dreams are out of the window. Florida couple paid $350,000 for an empty lot that they can't build on. And this is the kind of thing, we've talked about this briefly before, but here it's an unusual situation. Danielle Antos wrote this from MoneyWise. The woman and her husband, who owns a construction company, thought they were making an investment in their future in Fort Lauderdale. After spending $350,000 on an empty lot, they are now facing a real estate nightmare. In this case, they found out they cannot build on this lot. It was initially advertised as suitable for new residential construction. The couple bought the lot with plans to build 2 or maybe 3 homes on it. And they even talked about this with a real estate agent. However, shortly after they got the property, they discovered a significant challenge. The lot was landlocked. It was landlocked. The only road that led to the property was owned by the existing homes that surround it and is not available for public use. That's a detail that was never disclosed by the seller or the real estate agent, according to this couple. So this leaves them with no legal access to their lot. They own this piece of property, but technically speaking, they're not allowed to get to it or from it, and they certainly can't build on it because they require bringing in equipment and so on. The unforeseen obstacle not only stalled their dreams, but also resulted in a legal battle against the seller and the real estate agent. One of them told the news, "We're hoping that soon this nightmare will be over. All of our dreams are out the window." They were clear about their development plans before they bought the lot, and the seller made an effort to ensure the land could be developed. The seller's attorney filed a document releasing the lot from a covenant that prevented new construction before the couple went through the sale. They also sent several emails to the city asking about developing on the property and even went in person to get more information. After the purchase, the wife says she received an email from Fort Lauderdale zoning saying the city requires access to a public right-of-way and that it appears the lot may be unbuildable. Spokesperson from the city's Development Services Department told NBC the city may be a resource used by a buyer when doing their due diligence about the property's development potential. Understanding the city's zoning regulations, including permitted uses and development standards, is often part of a purchaser's due diligence. Ultimately, it is up to the purchaser to use the information available to make a final decision. With no solution in sight, the couple also tried negotiating with neighbors to purchase part of a private road to gain access to the lot. None of them went for the idea, given their concern over a flood risk. One neighbor was willing to offer the couple a small strip of land from their property. That way, they now own a portion of land that reaches a public street, but it's not clear if it's enough for the city. So we still don't have a clear answer with the city if this is good enough. Their situation raises important questions for prospective buyers. How could such a large oversight occur? Here are a few steps buyers could take to protect themselves. Hire professionals to look into this. Now, the couple did ask about the development potential. It's not clear if they had a real estate attorney or land surveyor before closing. A deeper understanding of local zoning and easement laws may also have prevented the issue. Florida easement laws make some provisions for landlocked property to receive developments by means of the nearest practical route. We'll talk about that in a second. And so finally, buyers should always consider purchasing title insurance and hope it covers this, because they've got good title to property. They just can't build on it. So one thing that will occur to some people is that generally speaking, states don't like to have property that becomes useless. I'm not talking about them owning it. I'm talking about just they don't want there to be all these properties out there that are useless because they make less tax off of it. They like everyone out there to buy a piece of property and build an expensive home. So there's a piece of landlocked property there. The law would like, if possible, for that landlocked piece of property to get used. There's a concept of an easement by necessity. And I went and found a quick, plain English definition. This occurs when a parcel owner creates a landlocked parcel without creating an express easement. So imagine the owner of a rectangular parcel splits it into 2 parcels, front and back. The front is on a road, but the back is not. the parcel owner should record a written easement allowing access to the back parcel, but suppose they don't. In this situation, the law disfavors landlocked parcels, and it will imply that the parcel owner intended to access or allow access over the front parcel to get to the back. That would be an easement by necessity. But however, keep in mind something, that somebody could also just say, I'm splitting up pieces of property, and someday there might be a road back here. Who knows? Maybe there could be a road back there someday, right? And so I don't know exactly how these houses are laid out, but it sounds like these are the property is surrounded by properties, right? So the question is, who landlocked that property? So imagine a time before any homes were built there, and somebody buys this chunk of property and start building homes and selling them off lot by lot. There must come a time, like a jigsaw puzzle being put together, where finally the last lot gets sold, and that lot is the one that could have had an easement across it, but didn't, and became the final way, the final block into getting at that interior property. Okay, so the law says in that case, and again, this is Michigan law here, but it's going to vary wildly from state to state, but the concept of common law is similar. An easement by necessity must always be over land that was owned by the same owner back then. In other words, you can't create a landlocked parcel and then claim access to that parcel over your neighbor's land if they had nothing to do with it. In some circumstances, you've got to look way back when the parcel was landlocked and from what properties it was split. So let's talk about this as a hypothetical, because I don't know how this particular case happened. But if you had, let's suppose it's a tic-tac-toe board, right? That's how the properties are. And let's assume that there's a road along the one side of the tic-tac-toe board, and there's lots 1, 2, and 3. Okay, over here, I'm just numbering like that. There's 3 down the middle, and there's 3 down the side. And 3 down the middle has center square. Center square is landlocked. And so a developer is selling off these parcels that have the houses on the outside, and finally gets to the last one. And either through oversight or just doesn't care, they decide, let's not bother putting the road across there to get into the inner lot, because it'll make this lot smaller, perhaps. Or maybe they don't plan on selling that lot. Maybe they're thinking, hey, you know what we can do with that lot? We can gift it to all the people whose backyards go up against it. And it'll become a little common area back. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But now that someone's selling that lot, the question is, did the seller know this? Because if the seller knew and did not disclose, that would be a cause of action for misrepresentation, maybe. If the seller knew and lied about it, that would be a case of fraud. And the question is, what did the seller know, and what did they disclose, and how did they disclose it? And did they disclose it? And so here's the thing. I've mentioned before that in Michigan and many states, there are forms they make a seller fill out to disclose things they know about property. And it'll say things like, are there any liens on the property? Is the property subject to flooding? Things that you wouldn't be able to spot with a simple inspection in one day, right? The liens, you could find that out. But I'm saying whether the property floods, right? And then are there any easements over the property? Okay, because that you might want to know that. And so the question is, what do the laws require in Florida? And I have a sneaky feeling the laws don't require that disclosure. And so that's somehow one of the ways that it slipped through. But the question is, did the seller know this? And it's possible they didn't. It's possible the seller bought this as an investment a long, long time ago and decided to just sell it now. That's possible too. So it's a strange situation, but the couple bought a home, and it appeared to have a road to it, but it turns out that road is not something they can use. Therefore, the city considers it landlocked and has said, until you find a way onto and off of that property, legally, we're not going to let you build on it. And so they're kind of stuck. And it's an expensive way to get stuck because they spent $350,000 on the lot. So money-wise, when it got published, Ben, thanks for sending it to me. Danielle Antos wrote it. All our dreams are out the window. Florida couple paid $350,000 for an empty lot they can't build on because it's landlocked. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. You bought it used from an individual? You bought it as is.